Skyrim in 2021? I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely gonna play it again. What up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. I am your host, Mike Fury, and I make informative videos just like this one. So please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future content. And today is 10 facts before you buy Skyrim Anniversary Edition. Let's go. Fact number 1, basic information. Skyrim, the Anniversary Edition, is the anniversary collection of one of the greatest games of all time. Not only does it bring the actual special edition, which is Skyrim, the base game, Dragonborn DLC, Fire, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, was the name of the other one that allowed you to actually have your own home or customize your own home into different holds. And also on top of that, it brought the Dawnguard DLC. I almost forgot it. The Dawnguard, which is the vampire DLC. You could either be a vampire hunter or an actual vampire yourself. It brings all of that plus all the little tiny DLCs and updates that it brought, before that or afterwards as well. And then finally, it brings all of the DLC released on Creation Club, or at least most of it. A lot of the very prominent ones, the most popular ones. We'll get into each and every specific one in a little bit, but that's basically what you are getting for the asking price of $50. Now this will release November 11, which is today, November 11, 2021. Like I said, asking price MSRP is going to be $50. If you already own it, the special edition, it will be $20. Now, if you own it on console, this is where it gets a little tricky. If you already own the special edition on console, there is a free next-gen upgrade coming. So do keep that in mind. I don't believe that unless you really want to play all of the Creative Club content, you could literally wait for the special next-gen upgrade. But if you want to play the DLC, do keep in mind you do have to fork over that $20 asking price, which is awesome. I think that all of that content for basically $20, along with the additions of fishing, along with the additions of the survival mode, like I said, we're going to get into all of that in a minute. All of that is very well worth the $20. Fact number 2, story. Fulfill the prophecy of the legendary Dragonborn. As Dovahkiin, you will fight Alduin, who is basically the world destroyer. He is the black dragon at the start of the game. You will have to fight this big badass dragon to save the world from unspeakable horror. Join guilds, participate in wars, kill or become a vampire. It's basically how you would expect an amazing adventure to go on. You're gonna have tons of choices, tons of things to do. You're gonna have a lot of great enemy types, a lot of great armor sets, a lot of great weapons to find. It's gonna be one of those where the quest is also just as good. I would say this is one of those rare occasions where the side quests that you participate in are almost just as good as the actual main storyline. Fact number 3, worlds. Skyrim is a vast open world with tons to explore, from crypts, dungeons, to the hills, mountaintops, shrines, villages, to castles and fortresses. There is never a dull moment in Skyrim, not to mention the fact that you get new areas now added with the added DLC from Creation Club, which is awesome. I'm super excited to actually get to visit some of these spots. Now getting all of this content plus the Dragonborn DLC, which I haven't personally played, and all the Creation Club and the survival mode, it's the best version of Skyrim as of this moment. The world is gonna be amazing to revisit. Fact number 4, Traversal. Now, you can obviously do the smart thing and use your different shouts, especially the one that allows you to dash forward. I love that shout. That shout is amazing. You could also use fast traveling to get around. It's fun. It's very simple, especially if you visited areas. The issue would be when you actually read a book or where you get information from other people and then it marks a spot on your map and you've never visited anywhere close to that map, then you obviously know, guess what? You have to travel to the closest town or use one of the carriages to actually take you to one of the closest towns, so then you can make the trip a little bit easier. There's definitely ways to get around, especially later in game. I'm not going to spoil anything because there are people who've never got to experience Skyrim. There's kids going right now listening to this video and going, hey, I want to play this game that everybody has talked about. Let's get into it. And so I don't want to spoil anything, but there's definitely ways to get around. Traversal is one of the few things, especially when you get into the dungeons and they're the maze-like dwarven dungeons where it's kind of little, puzzle-like sections. Oh, it's going to be super great for a lot of you guys who've never experienced this game. Fact number 5, characters and factions. Now, besides Lydia, Ulfric Stormcloak and the awesome gods and Daedric princess and princesses that you actually get to interact with, there's not a lot of great characters in Skyrim. Like, I don't believe that it's the characters that make this game the game it is. I think it's the world that makes this game, and the world itself could be considered a character to a certain degree. Now, don't let that discourage you, because I do believe that the factions themselves, with all the different characters that you get to interact with, from the Thieves Guild, I find that the Thieves Guild has probably the best group of characters. In my personal opinion, I think that it has the best group of characters. Point is, the factions are filled with interesting characters that you get to interact with, even though throughout the main story and the main campaign, you're not really gonna experience these amazing characters, in my personal opinion. But like I said, factions circumvent that. It is awesome. I love the factions. I love the faction system. And again, we're getting brand new information, brand new quests that you get to meet even more interesting characters throughout your entire journey of Skyrim Anniversary Edition. Now, new quests. This is we're getting straight into the brand new content. Saints and Sinners brings a new storyline, new armor sets, new weapons, new artifacts to collect, and brand new enemies to defeat, among some rare curiosities. Now, this is just one new quest. This is just one. Do keep in mind, I would also very well recommend, if you're gonna play it on PC, download, call it Enderfall, I apologize, Enderall, or Enderwall Forgotten Stories. This is a very substantial piece of DLC. I would highly recommend you download it, since it's completely free and you could get it right now on PC, on Steam. It's one of, you just look up Enderall, and it's a mod for Skyrim. I would highly recommend to add to these new quests, but definitely Saints and Seducers is one of the big ones that they're adding, apart from the next one that we will be talking about, which is fishing. Keep that in mind. Fishing is going to play a pretty, I wouldn't say substantial role, but it's going to be something that you would like to actually engage with throughout your experience with Skyrim Anniversary Edition. Fact number 7. Fishing. Now, not only will you be able to fish and get different rods, I do imagine that you will get different rods. I don't believe that they're only going to have one rod for you to catch a certain fish, or at least have one rod with a bunch of different baits. Again, I haven't completely dived into it just yet to see how extensive the fishing is, but you get to cook, you get to mount the fish on your walls and use them as trophies for your lodge or for your little area that you got off of one of the pieces of DLC. You get to keep them in an aquarium, which is awesome. I would love to see if you put like carnivorous fish along with like little tiny fish, to see if you come back one day like from a grand adventure and you just see that big fish dead because it just ate all of the little tiny fish, and then sadly it had nothing to eat afterwards. Like, that would be a funny experience if you just came into your lodge and like, okay, now I need to get more fish, and next time now put the carnivorous piranha in there or something along those lines. Now, also on top of that, there's going to be fish related quests. Now, can you imagine like something along the lines of, I wouldn't say Nessie, because Nessie's currently like a dinosaur or something along those lines, but see what kind of fish bosses you get to face, if there's even going to be fish bosses. Like, I don't know. I think fish is going to be super interesting. I would like to also see if the actual fish give different buffs. That would be interesting. Or if some fish are poisonous, or you use some fish as bait for other fish, like the bigger, grander fish. Again, I might be going too deep in this, but fishing is going to be part of the DLC, so might as well take advantage of it. Fishing is my number 7. Fact number 8, survival mode. This is essentially very hard mode for Skyrim. So not only will you have to be aware of your surroundings when it comes to enemies and when it comes to traps and hazards and things of that nature, but also your conditioning is going to be taken into consideration. Your diet will be challenged, as hunger and exhaustion will be big factors throughout the game, along with all of the other hazards of Skyrim's. Like, I would imagine the intense interaction between you and a giant, as you really need the giant's like cheese that they be having, along with all of the mammoths that are close to you, or you attacking the mammoths, and that interaction of basically survival of the fittest, because now you're hungry. If you don't kill this mammoth and you don't kill the giant, like, you could run away from the giant, but if you don't kill this mammoth, then you're gonna starve to death and within the following hours. Like, that is gonna create a different type of environment that we've never experienced in Skyrim before. It's gonna be one of those that, oh wow, that is a different experience because of these factors that are now added into, because of the added tension. And I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's something that a lot of people are gonna dive into. I think a lot of people are gonna enjoy. I think a lot of people are gonna make a lot of content based off of the survival mode. I think having survival mode in Bethesda games is just something completely awesome, and I think that they should do this almost every single time. Fact number 9. Creation Club. Now here is the Creation Club content. We have the gold brand weapon and quest. This brings a brand new weapon to Skyrim, and I think it looks awesome. I love the look of this weapon. It is super dope. You have a necromantic grimoire that brings 13 spells, a unique robe, and a couple unique enchantments as well. You have the dwarven home, which we didn't have last time. We could never have an actual dwarven home in Skyrim. Now we added that. You have farming, which has its own quests. Like, who knew we needed a farming quest? So there's this farming that you can now participate in. You could grow your own crops, your own lettuce, your own cabbage, or whatever the case may be. You have Ghost of the Tribunal, which is another huge quest, and so much more. The amount of content being added in this, there's video games shorter than the amount of content being added here. Like, let me just say that for anybody who's thinking, hey, 20 bucks is a little expensive for the upgraded, or $50, like, yo, not only are you getting the base game of Skyrim, which is already worth the asking price of $50, but the amount of content being added is absurd. Like, it is out of this world. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be phenomenal. In some cases, I do believe, because this, again, these are, I wouldn't say random, but these are modders creating some of this content and just being added to the game. I think a lot of these people are creative. I think they have a lot of cool ideas, and I would love to see them implemented in future IP. And finally, gameplay. If you're a veteran of Skyrim, I don't need to explain to you what you're going to be doing. But if you're new to this, this is Skyrim. This is, you come out of jail, or you come out of the executioner block, and from there on, you're on this grand adventure where you're going to be slaying dragons, you're going to be fighting dragon priests, you're going to be unlocking these masks, and it's all up to you to do what you want to do. There's no real rules to Skyrim. Skyrim doesn't tell you, hey, you must complete the actual quest line. Like, it doesn't force you to do anything. Like, you do what you want to do. You decide if you're gonna complete side quests or if you're gonna go to the main quest, if you're gonna participate in the war between the two big main factions, or are you gonna go slay dragons in the wilderness or fight bears, if you will. If you want to just become a rogue, or you want to be a knight, or you want to be a spellcaster, do you want to participate in the guild quest? Those are all up to you. Or you could literally just breeze through the story, which the story is more or less, if I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves me correctly, not counting the DLC, I think it's around 30 missions or 25 plus missions, which is not an extremely long experience if you just do the story modes, but you'd be doing yourself a huge disservice if you do not participate in some of these DLCs and some of these side quests. Some of the best missions in the game are just side quests that you happen to wander on, like finding a dog in the middle of a town and having him tell you about this cool quest. Like, it's absolutely absurd how great Skyrim is, even in 2021. It nails this sense of adventure that no other game, I wouldn't say no other game, but a very few games have ever been able to emulate. So I highly recommend grabbing, whether it's for 20 bucks, whether it's for 50 bucks, I highly recommend grabbing Skyrim Anniversary Edition. Do keep in mind, the only big weird question mark that we have for this is the fact that we don't know when it's coming to Game Pass. Like, when the actual Anniversary Edition is coming to Game Pass. It could be a year, it could be 2 years, it could never come. I don't know. They already have the Anniversary Special Edition on Game Pass, so it's up to you to decide. And that is it for today, guys. Thank you guys for watching. If you found this video helpful or informative, please hit the like button. If you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and make sure to share the video. We are on our way to 10K. I'm your host, Mike Fury. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Links are down in the description below, along with my Patreon. Do consider supporting me there. A dollar a day keeps the line a little way. You already know the name. It's been a complete pleasure. Until next time, Mike, off.